Hey, if you like classic rock and classic rock magazines, this video is for you. Now, a few days ago, we did a video where we opened up the box that had all these Circus magazines in them, and I was going to wait to do some videos where we flip through them, but this particular one had me just a little too interested, so I thought, let's make a video and just go through this particular one because I was just kind of fascinating when it said Who's Who in Rock, and this is March 31st of 1990. And I thought to myself, I think I know who was who in rock back then, but I want to just see what they had to say about that right now. So this is the 4th annual Rock Almanac, and Circus Magazine, Who's Who in Rock, Motley Crüe, Aerosmith, Skid Row, Warrant, Guns N' Roses, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, Metallica, and Whitesnake. 1990 was a big year. So many things were just about to change in the world of music, especially hard rock. And then, I mean, they've got Kiss, Faster Pussycat, LA Guns. Anyway, I just wanted to see what kinds of things they were showing in here. So, of course, there's Vince Neil, there's Sebastian Bach, and then you have Steven Tyler, Janie Lane. He was a huge deal back then. And then, of course, you have Axl Rose right there. And so, classic metal, blues rock, guitar heroes, progressive rock. Yeah, anyway, I thought this would be kind of fun to flip through. So anyway, just want to remind you, we are filming this in 4K resolution, so adjust your YouTube settings accordingly. And if you're watching on a high enough resolution monitor or high enough resolution television, then you can see all the detail that we're seeing as we're looking at it here in person. So, all right, let's jump into this thing and see what this has. Sure that's centered up there really well. Okay. Lord of the Strings, rated XL, Diodario. So this is obviously a play on the Lord of the Rings, but presents Diodario strings. They're kind of just making the advertisement is just kind of a play on a movie, because this is obviously way before the movies came out. So this is just, anyway, that's kind of interesting. Most strings that I played in my life were Diodario. By the way, I'm curious then, how many of you, I know we have a ton of guitar players on this channel. How many of you played Diodario strings, and what other brand did you prefer if you weren't those? And also, what gauge were you using? 1990 is the year of the wolf, Company of Wolves. These guys they had a song. It was called, the song was called The Wild. I think the album was just called Company of Wolves, featuring the Untamed Power from their debut. Yeah. Okay. I don't remember a lot about them, but it was just kind of this kind of blues based, just straight ahead kind of rock and roll, as I recall. Anyway, I don't remember a lot about them. If you remember more, please put that down in the notes. Okay. Why is the demand for crate amps growing after over twice as fast as for all other amplifiers? Because they're inexpensive. I think that, as I recall, crate amps were kind of the budget amplifiers way back when. As I recall that. It's been a while since I heard the name crate, but I think that's what it was. So to receive a crate 10-foot shield guitar cable, send $5 postage and handling. Oh, that's cool. Get a guitar cable for $5, 10 foot. That's actually, these days that wouldn't happen. Let's see here. So blues rock, Motley Crüe, Aerosmith, pop metal, progressive rock. Okay, yeah, this is gonna be kind of interesting to take a look at what they have here. And then, okay, cool. Next page. Here's all the letters that they have, that they would put. One of these days, we're going to come back in some of these and read these letters, because there's got to be some fascinating stuff in there. Was it live? This is Memorex. Was it live? And what is this? They're blowing out the back window of an old car. And this is a 100-minute tape. Memorex was an okay brand, though. Those things actually they mostly last pretty well. Okay, these strings are hot. Paul Gilbert. These strings are hot. These strings are cool. And that's kind of interesting how they do that upside down. So hot concert. What's the hot nickel? Hot nickel. I wonder, what is the difference? Maybe it's all the same thing and it's just hot and cool. So, but Paul Gilbert at this point, I mean, he was so amazing. And at this point in time, I think he was playing with Mr. Big. So but he's kind of always been just this really important guitar player out throughout the years. Okay, Whitesnake, Kicks, Stir Up Heat, Aerosmith, Crüe, Remain Strong. So Kicks, matter of fact, I think I've talked about them. I've got a Kicks record. You probably can't see it on that camera. Right there. And I used to love, especially that album, Midnight Dynamite. I probably mentioned them in another video. So, and Whitesnake, this is the time of slip of the tongue. And interesting, so it was an interesting time period because Whitesnake had gone from this really bluesy band that had spun off of Deep Purple back in the 70s to here we are in 1990. Actually, Slip of the Tongue, I think, came out in 89. But they were just not that anymore. And I mean, now at this point they have, I don't know, Steve Vai had come in sometime around this period, and Vivian Campbell had played with them, and Adrian Vandenberg. But what was interesting about that album, Slip of the Tongue, was that they had a song on there called Fool for Your Lovin'. And why that was interesting is because the song Fool for Your Lovin' had been on a different album years before, an album called Ready and Willin'. And I think the reason they did that was because in the 1987 album, which is the one before this, they had the song Here I Go Again, which was like the biggest song of the year. I'm sure you remember that song. Here I go again on my own. I mean, everybody knows that song. Well, what a lot of people don't know is that song on that album had come from the album Saints and Sinners years earlier. So it didn't go anywhere when they put it on that album, when it was on Saints and Sinners, but then when they put it on that 1987 album, it just obviously became the biggest song of the year. So when they did Slip of the Tongue, I think what they were hoping to do, because they did it again, they did Fool for Your Lovin', which they had done on an earlier album, re-releasing it, hoping that they would get that same kind of traction, which it didn't really, but that album still, I think on the strength of the previous album, this album ended up going multi-platinum. Okay, so then we have, so these are listings, these are tours, that's what we're talking about here. So Aerosmith is still on Pump at this point, Bad English, Bellamy Brothers, look at all these bands touring, the Big F, I don't know anything about them, B-52s, look at all these bands. Alice Cooper was, I mean, he'd been around forever at this point. And he's still, they just made an announcement that he's touring again. I mean, anyway, and he's cool. Actually, he's a really interesting guy. But look at all these bands. Some of these I don't even know who they are. Class. I know who Dave Mason is. Faith No More, they were becoming huge around this period. Ray Charles. Bonham. Do you remember that, what was the song they had? Wait for You. It was a pretty cool tune. And it was, anyway, kind of interesting. So here we have Cinderella, and then we have Fred Coury. This is so fascinating because Fred Coury had been, he'd played on, of course, Night Song. No. That was what I was going to say. He didn't play on Night Songs. So their first album, Night Song, Cinderella, Fred Coury is on the cover, and he was this young, I mean, he was very, very young. And on the cover of Night Songs, I swear, he looks like he could be 14 years old with his mom picking him up from middle school. I mean, he looked so young. But so he didn't play on Night Songs. And then the next album, which is Long Cold Winter, which is the one that would have been the one that they were on at this point, he didn't play on that one either. It was Cozy Powell, I think, played on almost every single song on that album. So it's interesting. Night Songs came out. Fred Coury joined the band. They went in and recorded another album that Fred Coury didn't play on. And then I think it wasn't until the album after that Fred Coury actually played. Anyway, just kind of fascinating, that guy. And he seems like a really cool dude too. I've seen some little interviews with him, and he seems genuinely like a really cool guy. So here's Warrant, new home video, quality you can taste. Yeah, I remember this album, Dirty, Rotten, Filthy, Stinkin' Rich. Kind of became a famous image. So let's see here. What else? More concerts over there. The Zildjian Sweepstakes. Meet your choice of one of these world-renowned drummers. Okay, I recognize a few of them. I know some of these are like session players. I think he was. Greg Bissonette, of course, played with David Lee Roth, but I think he was kind of a session player before that. There's Tommy Aldridge. He'd been all over the place. Let's see here. Oh, there's Anton Fig. Again, kind of a session drummer. He played on, a lot of people would know him for playing with Ace Frehley. I think the main thing people would know him from is playing on the Late Show with David Letterman. So there's Steve Smith, of course, from Journey. Weckel, I mean, he was a session drummer too, as I recall. So is that everything over there that we saw? You see everything? Yeah, I guess that was it. Airplay, okay. Eric Clapton, Journeyman. Aerosmith, Pump was huge. Lou Gramm, The Alarm. Don Henley, The End of the Innocents. Oh my gosh, Don Henley he was nailing it during that period. He had so many cool songs. See who was Alice Cooper. Slip of the Tongue, there's the one we were talking about a minute ago. Oh, there it is, Disregard of Timekeeping. I had that CD from Bonham, and he was such a great, great drummer, but I think that first, I tried listening to the whole CD, and I don't know, the first song I thought was crazy awesome, but listening to the rest of it, I didn't love it. Maybe there's something on there, if you know, on that Bonham album, if there's something else I should listen to. But it was that first song I thought was great. And then Motley Crüe, Dr. Feelgood, that was huge at this point. Critics praised the Sure Beta series. Yeah, because it was the SM57 and the SM58 were huge. And then kind of they showed up with the Beta 58, the Beta 57, and those kind of became the new standard for a lot of like vocal. Because here it is actually over here. That's what it looked like. Because the Beta, as I recall, they added that little blue band around the thing because it looked just like the SM57 and the SM40 or SM58 and the SM48 looked just like it, but this was kind of some sort of an improvement. We had one or two of those at some point, but I know we just had the SM58 a lot. So, and this is Warrant. Okay. Warrant pushing the Shure Beta microphones. Okay, Heavy Metal Mania. 12 cassettes. This is cool. This is so interesting because this was 12 cassettes or 8 CDs. It used to be, or LPs. These are all kind of the standard things that were popular at the time. There's Bonham again right there. There's Satriani. Anyway, did you ever do this? I know we've had people talk about that in here before. I did it. Hang on just a second. This will be really quick. With hundreds of videos on our channel now, we've made playlists to make it easy for you to find whatever the thing is that you're interested in. We have a playlist with all of our Rush videos, Kiss, Led Zeppelin, Van Halen. We have categories like 80s metal and even our popular magazine flip-throughs, where we go through page by page with Circus Magazine, Hit Parader, and others, all in 4K resolution. You'll find it all organized and ready to explore. Just click the playlist tab on our channel's homepage. All right, back to the video. For sure. Let's see here. So Fresh Bite, Stinger, all new Stinger by C. This is a guitar. The Sting, I've never heard. I know Martin, obviously. The newly designed neck and headstock to a more contemporary styled body. Okay, so these are Martin electric guitars. That's interesting. EMG pickups. And then what do we have here? Best-selling albums. Phil Collins, But Seriously. Wow, he was so big. Janet Jackson, and speaking of so big, she was huge too. Billy Joel, Stormfront. Oh my gosh, Milli Vanilli, Girl You Know It's True was number 4. That's just awesome seeing that there. Paula Abdul, she was so big. Tom Petty, same thing. B-52's New Kids on the Block and New Kids on the Block 8 and 9 with Merry Merry Christmas. And hey, wait, when was this? March 31st of 1990. And they're at number 8 on the top 10 or top 20 with Merry Merry Christmas. New Kids on the Block hanging tough. Okay, Rolling Stones, London Ronset. There's Aerosmith, Pump. Rush, this was Presto time period. I think that's the last vinyl that I have of Rush. Everything after that, I don't think I bought any more vinyl, specifically vinyl, but I'm pretty sure we have that one in the collection. Young MC, Motley Crüe, Dr. Feelgood, Whitesnake, Slip of the Tongue. Already talked about that. Man, Tracy Chapman was showing up. Wow, that's so interesting. Okay, what's over here? We have the word find. Okay, let's do one real quick. What do we know down here? Did Rebel Yell? That's Billy Idol. Do you see B? Billy? Where's Billy? Or Idol? I'm feeling... There's Warrant. I see that. So, actually, there's another one. Love and... That's got to be Rockets. There's Rockets right there. Okay, somebody right now is looking, going, I see Billy Idol right there. What is your problem? Well, I don't know what my problem is. I don't see Idol or... No? Man, I'm feeling really dumb. But I'm not going to sit here and stare at this. Yeah, for some reason, I just can't. I see all kinds of other things in there, but I don't see Idol. Oh, well, no big deal. Okay, but what I'll do is I'll go find next month's, and I will see why I'm overlooking Idol. Idol, right there, going up at an angle. Got it. It Roars, and it's coming to Circus in April. GW Lion Guitars. Lion Guitars. That sounds familiar. Lion Guitars. I don't know anything about it. Did you ever own a Lion guitar? I don't know anything about that. Okay, here we go. Steven Tyler. And then Brad Whitford over here. And Joe Perry. Wow, why does Brad Whitford look like he's 80 years old right there? That's kind of funny. I tell you what, we've talked about this before. These pictures that they would put in Circus Magazine, they were not very flattering very often. So that was a different world of photography too, wasn't it? Where you couldn't look at all your pictures right at the moment. What a cool band. Here we go. Presto right here. Rush Presto. Their Atlantic album featuring the song Show Don't Tell, Show Me Don't Tell Me. Remember that one in the past. I barely remember those other songs. I did not listen to this album much. But here they are on tour. Yeah, Atlantic Records. Oh, Atlantic, yeah. Yeah, the Atlantic debut. Okay. Let's see here. School Days. School's tough enough without having to try. Oh, this is a Just Say No advertisement from the Ad Council. So get the education you deserve and learn how to say no to drugs. Okay. What a difference GHS electrics make. Okay, here we go. Boomers. I remember seeing Boomers. Again, what strings did you use? Because I had friends that swore by Boomers. Like I said, for some reason, when I was young, somebody bought me Diodario strings. That's just what I always used after that. Okay, here we go. John Bon Jovi right there lays his hands on the press. This would have been... This is Blaze of Glory time period in 1990, wasn't it? Man, that was big. Do you remember Blaze of Glory? That was, wasn't it Young Guns 2? That song? Yeah. Blaze of Glory, Young Guns 2. I remember we saw that movie, believe it or not, I saw Young Guns 2 at a drive-in. Do you remember going to a drive-in? That was kind of like the end of the drive-in back then, but it was still kind of fun hanging out there. But you had that little speaker you'd stick in your window or something. Anyway, such a strange time. But I remember that song, and then that kind of kicked off that acoustic thing somehow when he did that. It was a cool tune. So, but this caught my eye right as I was saying that. Dokken officially over. Dokken is history. No formal announcement has been made, but vocalist Don Dokken and guitarist George Lynch have formed separate solo bands. Don with ex-Europe guitarist John Norum, who played on The Final Countdown, and George with Dokken drummer Mick Brown, that's kind of funny thinking about that. Because Mick ended up being with Dokken kind of forever after that, Don. So, okay. part 3 of 3 part 3 of 3-part poster. Huh, I wonder what that means. Because this is obviously Steve Vai, right? Yeah, that's Steve Vai for sure. Where's the other? This looks like, the magazine looks like it's intact. I don't know, maybe we'll come across it in a minute. Huh, interesting. Stanley, hot on new LP despite lukewarm sales. Yeah, hot in the shade. This was hot in the shade time. And this was interesting because that was when they put out the song Forever, which he wrote with Michael Bolton. If that tells you anything about where Kiss was going, the song Forever with Michael Bolton. Man, we bag on Kiss on these shows a lot. It's so funny. I love Kiss. Like, I was a huge fan, and I still buy stuff, and I'm into them, and I love talking about them. But it also is kind of fun to poke fun at the stuff, you know? Because just the whole story behind Kiss, the arc of their whole career is just so interesting that you get, I don't know, for people, and maybe some of you can relate to this because you became a fan of Kiss when you were a little kid, and then, you know, you watched it all those years and you were kind of in and out, you know, buying the stuff and watching it, and then, you know, then Lick It Up comes out and then I'm back in, and it was, but just the whole thing, it was just always so interesting following them. Even the missteps are just fun to talk about. So anyway, okay, so the big hit, there's Billy Sheehan. These are, well, guitar strings, right? But he's a bass player. I guess this is Rotosound. Yeah, I mean, this is Rotosound right there, duh. Just strings. Did anybody use Rotosound strings? I don't know anything about them. Okay, Tora Tora. So, that's funny, I see that. So, okay, some of you may or may not know, but we're in a production studio right now. It's a studio that I own. We're in St. George, Utah. We have, I mean, it's a cool place. We have clients that come in here and film, and we do production and all kinds of stuff. And I've basically taken over a section of the studio to do this podcast. And so anyway, so every once in a while, they'll have these big kind of little these festivals and things that are outside and around town, and because we have great weather here all the time. It's a little bit like being in Arizona, because we're not far from Arizona here. We're right on the edge of the state. And so it's great weather pretty much year round. And so they have these big outdoor things a lot. Well, sometimes I'll take the studio and we'll just go get a booth and we'll just have fun. So we'll go do a booth where several times we'll go out there and we'll just take like a big Marshall amp and a guitar, and we'll just let people just play the guitar. We'll kind of talk about the studio so people can come in and record music or do videos, marketing stuff is what we do mainly. And so we'll just, you know, people walking by and we'll grab little kids and let them play the electric guitar. And it's really fun, you know, like that, like we'll take like that one. Oh, you can't see it on the screen. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. Oh, you can. We'll take that one out, you know, and then it has the name of it. Anyway, and it's fun. They play at the whammy bar and all that stuff. Okay. So anyway, so one of these days we're out at the county fairgrounds at one of these things, just kind of having fun, you know, and people walking by, and I get kind of outgoing in those situations with all these people. I'm like, hey, come here, let's play the guitar, get the kids. Well, so one day, one of these things, we're kind of goofing off and somebody's playing, and there's this guy that kind of walks by with this family, just normal looking dude, and he kind of stands there for a second. I'm like, hey, you want to play the guitar? Come here. And so what I'll do is I'll put it on and I'll kind of show him some chords. And anyway, so this guy comes over and he picks it up and he kind of plays a couple chords and he goes, oh, you play then, huh? Because every once in a while we'll find somebody that actually knows. And he goes, yeah, I can play the guitar. And so then he starts like ripping, just like playing like some pretty cool stuff. And he sounds a little bit like somebody that probably used to be amazing, but just doesn't practice a lot anymore. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, that's pretty good, man. And so we sit and talk for a second. And I go, so do you play? Do you have a band? I mean, what's your story? And he says, yeah, actually, I was in a band for a long, long time. And we talked about it for a second. I said, would I have heard of you? And he goes, well, the band was called Tora Tora. And I go, Tora Tora. Dude, Tora Tora, like the Tora Tora that was anyway. And that was the dude. I can't remember his name now. But it was cool. So we just sat and talked for a few minutes. Super cool dude, just there with his family. As I recall, he had a couple of kids and he was just in from out of town visiting. We get a lot of that here in St. George. Anyway, I don't know why I'm bothering you with that, but I just saw the name Tora Tora. It's not something you hear a lot. But I ran into the guy at one of these things down here. This would have been 3-4 years ago. Okay, so what is this? Series 10, like electric guitars? I mean, that's what it looks. Yeah, it's got to be a Series 10. I don't know. I don't know anything. And that's a left-handed guitar, too. Yeah, you know anything about Series 10 guitars? Put it in the comments. Movie videos. Buddy Cops, Bizarre Vampires, and Buddy Cops, because it's Lethal Weapon. What do we have here? I don't know. I remember Parenthood. Star Trek 5. Oh, Turner and Hooch. I remember that. Vampire Kiss. I don't remember that. Here we go. Home videos. Batman. The Michael Keaton one. Scrooged. Ghostbusters 2. Man, I remember Say Anything. Sort of. Major League. That was a fun movie. Rain Man. I remember that one, obviously. Nady wireless. I had a Nady. And that thing got beat to heck. And it just kept working. Used it for years. Might even still have it somewhere. It was great too. It was great. It worked so well. Warrant releases first live video. Metal magazines gain momentum. There's Dirty Rotten Filth. Janie Lane again. Sebastian Bach. Keith Richards. Let's see here. Music videos, New Kids on the Block, Hangin' Tough, and New Kids on the Block is also number 2, Hangin' Tough Live. Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation, Paula Abdul, Straight Up. Remember that? Paula Abdul, Straight Up, not him, and blah, 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 blah. She actually had it was catchy stuff. She was pretty cool. Def Leppard in the Round. I think probably a lot of people saw them on that tour where they did the thing in the round with Hysteria. Bon Jovi, New Jersey, Pink Floyd, a Video Mind Crime from Queensryche. All right. So over here we have Lars, 22 countries visited, 50 states seen, 251 shows accomplished. Thor's Justice. Yeah, because this is in the Injustice for All period. So this looks like a promo for Tama. Full color Lars, you get a poster. Tama department, yeah, interesting. Get a poster of Lars with his Tama drums. Huh. Interesting. Okay, interesting, man. I need new adjectives. Fast. I got to write some down somewhere so I can quit saying that word. All right, sometimes good rock and roll is all in your head. There's more drums. Faster Pussycat, House of Pain, Bango Tango, Joe Satriani, LA Guns. Oh, these are song lyrics, obviously. There's Bruce Kulick, SIT Strings, Hot in the Shade, like I was talking about a second ago. Did you use SIT Strings? This would be interesting. It really would be cool to find out what types of strings people used. Because I got Diodarios when I was a little younger, and I just kind of always used them. But a lot of people swore by other things. Okay. Sam Ash, everybody knows Sam Ash. Music stores, let's see, the world's first and only hard rock and heavy metal video mag. Hard and heavy. 60 minutes plus of uncensored volume video. Volume 1. Ozzy, Iron Maiden, Motley Crüe, Alice Cooper. I don't know, what was this? You order some sort of videotapes? You can put your credit card right there. Or you can order with the credit card over the phone, available at all good record and video stores. I don't know. Did anybody know? Did you own this? Did you know what this was? Did you have hard and heavy, 60 minutes plus of uncensored volume video? Oh, this is interesting. Philip Lewis is plucked from the British group Girl, which also spawned Def Leppard's Phil Collen. That's actually, yeah, Phil Collen. That's actually kind of kind of fascinating, kind of something. Rush Show Don't Tell. Yeah, they were full on in Presto at that point. Tom Kiefer and see more strings. This is so crazy how Circus Magazine was advertising just guitar strings. Just look how many guitar strings are being advertised in Circus Magazine. Huh. Fascinating. Okay. Some bands pay their dues by playing the blues. Okay, so here's our here's how Rock Encyclopedia, I guess this is how it works. The blues. Okay, look at this. So they have tabs. Rock Encyclopedia, pop metal, speed metal, classic. Okay, I see. So we're in the blues rock category right now. So they put Great White. I mean, that's for sure they would fit in that, Jack Russell, they'd fit in that thing. The Cult. Once flagship band for the British psychedelic renaissance, the Cult moved into heavier territory last year with Sonic Temple, their second LP. A bunch of Cult fans right now are going, oh, no. I believe the number you mean to say is 4 as the Cult. So anyway, let's see here. Okay. Cinderella. Yeah, because that's what, when you go back, and maybe that's the point here, because when you go back to Love, which is the one before Electric, it sounds, I mean, other than Ian's voice, which is very distinctive, the band really, when the album Electric came out, the sound changed. As a matter of fact, I saw the Cult. I'll have to tell this story sometime, but they opened up for Billy Idol, and I took a girl with me to see that concert, and she knew who the Cult was, and I didn't. And they came out on stage and started playing, and she had not heard Electric. She'd been into them before this, and we're watching them, and she goes, this doesn't sound anything like what I remember, what I know about this band. I have no idea what's going on, because they really did kind of embrace that bluesy AC/DC rockin' sound. And so but it was awesome. It was. So anyway, okay, so Cinderella, Long Cold Winter. Now we're still in blues rock, and are putting Motley Crüe in that world, it looks like. Barry's the bad boy tag. According to reports, Nicky Vince and Company's Dr. Feelgood album was at first titled SSRR. Oh, yeah. Interesting. And there's the word again. Interesting. Okay, next page. And what is this? Obviously, Mick Mars. I have no idea what kind of guitar he's playing, because I can't read but who is this? Gregg Strummer from Raging Slab? Should I feel stupid not knowing who this is? But he made it into the pages of Circus Magazine. He made it onto a stage with Motley Crüe, and then made it into the pages of Circus Magazine. I do not know who this guy is. Should I feel stupid right now that I don't know who this is? Okay, please in the comments, because somebody watching this video right now knows who that is and is going to say, dude, what kind of fool are you that you don't know who Gregg Strummer is? I'd like to, I want to know. I may just go look it up myself after we finish filming, because now I'm really curious. Look at this picture. That is a terrible photo. It's all blurry. That is a really, really awful photograph. Again, Circus Magazine was not, they were not putting out their best stuff at all. I don't think. I mean, like I said, some of these things just are not very flattering, but some pictures like that, that's just, how did that get printed? That's kind of funny to me. Am I missing something? That's a terrible picture. Okay, whatever. That's not important. Okay, now here, here we have Tom Hamilton. Now we got Aerosmith, blues rock. Obviously, they have, especially in their, in the early days, they're really blues rock. They're getting a little more, you start moving into that Permanent Vacation and Pump era, and it is a little more catchy, poppy when you get into that point. But I don't know, they still had the grit. As long as you got Steven Tyler and Joe Perry, there's still some cool stuff happening for sure. So and here we go. Can't believe we're doing this after 20 years. Joe Perry. Yeah. Well, 20. Let's try a lot more than that at this point. I mean, what are we talking now? We're 50-ish. Amazing. Okay, here we go. Whitesnake. Yes. Okay, okay. So there's Vivian Campbell. Did I mention him at the beginning? Because it was Vivian Campbell and then Steve. Okay, here we go. 1988 Whitesnake boasted Campbell left Coverdale and Vandenberg. Campbell was replaced by Steve Vai. Yeah. So, because Vivian Campbell, the first time we really ever heard of him was when he played with Dio on Holy Diver. And then that was, man, still to this day, that was his best stuff. And then, I mean, now he's kind of out to pasture. I hate to put it that way, but with Def Leppard, where he can't be what he was when he was with Dio, man. He was because when Vivian Campbell hit, so many of us were just like, who's this hotshot guitar player that we were all just amazed by? He was so good. Anyway, there you go. So here he is at the time period when he's playing with Whitesnake. And Adrian Vandenberg was also kind of a strange fit for the band. And I loved Adrian Vandenberg. They had 3 albums under the name Vandenberg, and I have all 3 of them. And I saw Vandenberg opening up for Kiss. They opened up for him on the Lick It Up tour. And they were cool. They were fine. I didn't love them, but I bought all their stuff. And he was kind of a unique guy on stage because I think he's something around 6'7" in that range. So if you ever saw him in concert, he's just this big dude. It was, anyway, so it looked kind of unusual because he was so much bigger. He was one of those things where a little bit like Angus Young is dwarfed sometimes by his guitar, because he's so short. Well, you take this now, the guitar is dwarfed by him, and it also looks kind of odd in that same way. But he was a great guitar player. He was a little bit like Robin Crosby from Rat, because he was a linebacker, just big, tall guy, big dude, and a good guitar player. But you'd see him live. I remember the first time I saw Rat on the Out of the Cellar tour. And I'm looking, because I didn't really know who they were. I was still figuring him out back then. And I saw Robin Crosby, and I go, dude, that guy is huge. And he just made his guitar look small because he was this monster. Anyway, what a cool guy. What a cool guy. Anyway, so whatever. Okay, Guns N' Roses was huge. And this was still about maybe a year before Use Your Illusion came out. So they were on Lies at this point. So, but man, they were a big deal. They were so huge. It's just amazing how they set themselves up to be such legends so quickly. It's fascinating. Anyway, they put them under the blues who's who of rock music. Okay, and then obviously you're going to put Tesla in the blues rock category for sure. So because they were, we just put a video out about these guys. I think it came out just a few days ago. But they were a little bit of a breath of fresh air when they hit. And so, but this would have been great radio controversy time period when this came out. But they just kept going. I mean, they just kept putting out just cool stuff. So what does it say here? Other double guitar bands trade off leads, but you can't pick the two apart. They don't have individual identities. That actually is a great point, because that's a problem that they didn't have. The 2 different styles were really, really awesome about Tesla. So yeah, that's really cool. And I think a lot of people would recognize that when you listen to them. There was the one that was there was a little yin and yang going on in there. You had the one that was a little more precise and the one that was a little more chaotic, maybe is a way to put it. And it was just beautiful when you get two guitarists that kind of come from different directions like that. And it's almost like it adds this tension that just enhances the intensity of the music. They were really cool that way. So pushes to be the premier twin axe band. Yeah. How cool. Okay, now we're halfway through, and we have Sebastian Bach, Dave Sabo. So anyway, so here we go. We're at the centerfold, so we're probably just we've been going on for quite a while. We'll wrap it there. We'll pick up the second half of this magazine sometime, few days, next week, who knows when, but we'll go through the rest of this. This is so much fun doing this stuff. Just real quick, if I could ask you, we do this show where we go through these magazines. We have other things where we open up records, things that we get shipped in here. And then sometimes me and Gary do more videos now where we're talking about kind of current things happening in the world and just commenting on them. We're doing a little bit of experimenting to see what happens with the videos, because we have a blast doing all of it. I mean, all of it's fun. But we really want to know what's fun for people on the other end here, what they enjoy, because what we're in the process of doing. Matter of fact, I had some new people in today that we're looking at hiring to bring in to help run the boards and do the editing and help behind the scenes. And we also had some other people come in that are going to be on camera. And so what we're going to do is we're literally going to be creating shows that have different things. Like we'll literally have a show that you'll know that a certain day and time we'll be doing a magazine read through. And a certain day and time we're going to be doing this. And a certain day and time we're going to be doing this, so that you can know on a consistent basis what's happening. And so what we're doing right now is figuring out, okay, what are the things, because we love doing all of it, but we'd really like to be doing the things that we love, that you love. And so if we can get that kind of feedback, like, hey, I don't really like when you guys talk about this, but it is fun when you do this. Some people have been emailing us this information. Other people put in the comments. It's really helpful if it's in the comments, because then other people can chime in too. But if you're still watching this video and listening to me right now and are willing to take the time, put it in the notes what it is that you're interested in seeing, the kind of videos that you enjoy that we're putting out right now, and other suggestions. Because we're basically going to be putting a whole schedule together, and we're probably about a month out before we start before you start seeing the schedule come to life. But we've already filmed some of the episodes of some of the things that we're going to be putting out. And I've said this before, I'm so excited about what we're going to be doing with this channel. It's going to be so much fun. We're having a blast doing it right now, if it wasn't obvious. And we're going to be making themed shows so that because right now we're just throwing stuff out. And every day we put stuff out, pretty much every day, but we never know from day to day. Yeah, let's throw that one out and this one. And part of it is just to test what people are interested in and experiment a little bit with how it goes. But it also helps not just to see the numbers, but to also get your feedback where we hear, we like it when you two are together, or we don't like it when you guys are working together, but it's good when you guys are together talking about this, but we prefer it when these things, and then maybe we need to do this and that. And anyway, that stuff is very helpful. And so we read the comments. We find great value in hearing back from you on all this stuff. The channel is growing like crazy, and we are dedicated to building this channel and turning it into something where we build this really cool fraternity of people that all kind of enjoy this stuff together. And that's what we're shooting for. And so we want to know what you enjoy, and then we can really focus on those things, because we have fun with all of it. And so knowing a little more clearly the things that are really, really getting through, that's helpful on our end too, and your feedback. So anyway, please leave your feedback and share this with other people. We really appreciate when you do that, and like the video, etc., etc. And with that, have yourself a fantastic day.